Will the House come to order? Mr. Clerk?
Aloha and good afternoon. Today's invocation will be delivered by Representative Lisa Kitagawa. Will the members who wish to participate please rise?
Please remain seated. Last Thursday, my grandma passed away. She would have been 92 this year. In thinking about today's invocation, I asked myself if sharing about my grandmother would be too personal or too soon. But then I realized that she was just too special to not share a little of her story with all of you. My grandmother, Akio Kitagawa, grew up on a plantation on the Big Island and moved to Kaneohe in the 1960s. She raised 4 children, became a widow in her early 50s, and lived a life of challenges and triumphs. She had a fighting spirit to never give up and to always do what's right. As a kid, she was always there for me. Her house was the place I would go to when I didn't want to be at home. She taught me how to play hanafuda and always had the best snacks. As an adult, I really got to see how amazing she was. Over the last 6 years, she overcame so many health challenges. In her 80s, she lost a leg because of diabetes, but that didn't stop her. She put in the hard work to learn how to walk again with a prosthetic leg. A couple years later, she lost her other leg as well. But through it all, she had a can-do attitude and never gave up. She always looked at life with a glass half-full mentality, always had a smile on her face, and never failed to make me smile and laugh. She taught me to try my best, to be honest, to work hard, and to never give up. Her death reminds me that time is too short, that life is full of surprises, and that it's important to cherish those around you. I hope that in sharing a little bit about my grandma, you are reminded to never give up no matter what life may throw at you, to tell those that you love how much they mean to you, and to live your life the way my grandma did, full of joy, hope, and love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Kitagawa. Let's move on to item 1, roll call. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Ayu? Mr. Alcos? Ms. Amato? Ms. Bellotti? Mr. Chun? Ms. Cochran?
Excuse.
Mr. Evslin? Mr. Ganadin? Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garrett? Mr. Gates?
Excuse.
Mr. Hashem? Mr. Holt? Ms. Hussey Burdick? Ms. Ichiyama?
Excuse.
Ms. Kahaloa? Ms. Capella?
Excuse.
Mr. Kila? Ms. Kitagawa? Mr. Kobayashi? Mr. Kong? Ms. Lachika? Ms. Lamosao? Ms. Lowen? Ms. Martin? Ms. Martinez? Mr. Matayoshi? Ms. Matsumoto? Mr. Miyake? Ms. Mizuno? Ms. Morikawa? Ms. Nakamura? Mr. Nakashima?
Excuse.
Mr. Nishimoto? Mr. Onishi? Ms. Peruso? Mr. Pirik? Ms. Poe Poe? Mr. Quinlan? Mr. Saiki? Mr. Sayama? Ms. Souza? Mr. Takayama? Ms. Takenouchi? Mr. Tam? Mr. Tarnas? Mr. Todd? Mr. Ward? Mr. Woodson? Mr. Yamashita? Mr. Speaker.
Present.
Mr. Speaker, 46 members are present, 5 are excused.
Thank you. Item 2, reading of the journal. Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, may this matter be deferred.
So ordered. Item 3, Mr. Clerk, are there any messages from the governor?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Item 4, Mr. Clerk, are there any Senate communications?
Mr. Speaker, there are none.
Members, introductions. Representative Morikawa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the gallery this morning, we have two very passionate voting advocates from Kauai, Nathaniel Fuller and, Koa Fuller, Nathaniel Fisher. Welcome.
Any other members wishing to do any introductions? With no introductions, let's move on to our order of the day. Item 5, reports of standing committees. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt Standing Committee Reports numbers 29-24 through 66-24 as listed on pages 1 through 11, and that the accompanying House bills as may be amended pass second reading and be referred to their designated committees.
Representative Morikawa.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
Any discussions on STANCOM report 29-24? Next page. Representative Ward.
Speaker? Yes. Gently, may I speak in favor of this bill, please?
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I commend the authors for being ahead of the curve because AI is going to be a mainstream event, a mainstream phenomenon, a mainstream issue when it comes to facts, when it comes to campaigns. In fact, there's another bill that says if you use AI in your campaign literature, hey, cite it, just like they do in bibliographies when you're doing a paper at the university. The point is we're ahead of the curve, and the point is this stuff is going to come in really, it's going to meet us and hit us hard if we're not prepared. So I commend the authors again. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, members, next page. SCR 30-24. SCR 31-24. SCR 32-24, SCR 33-24. Next page. SCR 34-24, SCR 35-24. Representative Garcia,
In support,
proceed.
I would just like to note that the original version of the bill was a lot better, which included fruit trees. And now it's been removed, so still in support, but I would just like to see fruit trees planted everywhere. Thank you.
All right, members, moving on to SCR 36-24. Representative Peruso,
With reservations.
proceed. Oh, thank you. All right, members, moving on to SCR 37-24. Next page. SCR 38-24. SCR 39-24. SCR 40-24. SCR 41-24. Representative Garcia,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In opposition,
proceed.
thank you. Mr. Speaker, increasing taxes is not the solution to solve Hawaii's problems. A bill similar to this passed in 2018, which was ruled invalid by the Hawaii State Supreme Court in less than 1 month prior to the 2018 election. And even if this time the wording is different, it's still a creation of a new tax. Revenue is not the problem. It's the careless stewardship of tax dollars that's the problem. We don't have enough money for education. Really? The DOE forfeits hundreds of millions of dollars by mistake. The superintendent, who makes $240,000 a year currently, is being considered for an increase to $350,000 a year. Government is not the answer to our problems. Government is the creator of these problems. Stop increasing Hawaii's cost of living. Mahalo.
Representative Akos,
No vote.
so ordered. Representative Perrick,
No vote.
so ordered. Representative Ward,
Speaker, I rise in opposition.
proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this bill is the county being usurped by the state. We want to get in on the property tax issue. The Constitution was very clear, and the founders of the state of Hawaii and the founders and the writers of the Constitution of the state of Hawaii were very clear. The right to tax property is that solely of the counties. We are aggressive, we are greedy, we are the ones who need all the money, and we say, well, we can overstep them because we're going to tax the rich. We've got $300 million houses. Mr. Speaker, there's a separation of state and county, and this thing goes over the line and it's a very bad precedent. In fact, we even opened up the precedent, I think last year or the year before, we're allowing the counties to do their TAT. Sometimes we're going to have a Maui or a Kauai or a TAT that hits the roof, and we will have no control over it because we've let this genie out of the bottle. And taxation, you know, there's no limit to what we need in terms of funding government. There's no limit to what we need to just tax a little bit more, which brings me to the conclusion of my speech, and that is, Mr. Speaker, we cannot keep slicing the pie thinner and thinner. The governor stood there the other day and said 44% of all the Hawaii families are ALICE families, asset limited income challenged earners, the working poor. And then he threw a real bomb, and he said 63% of the Hawaiian families are ALICE families, the working poor, 63%. So my question is this, Mr. Speaker, what the hell are we doing here if we're not getting people jobs to get the money instead of just slicing the pie thinner and thinner, giving you a tax break for this, giving you a tax break for that? Let's get them ready to have jobs that make money, they can put a roof over their head, and they can put food on their family. This is just another grab in this bill to say we're going to tax you more and we're going to give it to the state rather than to the counties. And the state needs to get an economy that's diversified. The state needs to get an economy that will put food on the table for these ALICE families. 63% of the Hawaiian families. Mr. Speaker, that's embarrassing. All of us should be embarrassed. One of our communities, 63% of the people cannot afford food or rent over them. We are not doing our job, Mr. Speaker. Having said that, I have no strong feelings about this bill.
Representative Woodson,
Thank you, Speaker, and support.
proceed.
Comments to the journal, please, also. This proposal simply proposes a constitutional amendment for properties over $3 million. And one of the previous speakers indicated that our superintendent is paid perhaps too much, when in fact he's paid actually less than what you see in comparable school districts. And it is also not true that the DOE actually forgoes lots of money each and every year. That is just an inaccurate statement. And for this reason and others, I humbly recommend that we continue the proposal just to see if our other colleagues will support it as we move on through the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Brusso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the comments of the previous speakers
Stand in support.
in strong support. So I would just like to note that this measure would impose a property tax surcharge on non-owner occupied residences valued at over $3 million, and that those monies would be used to fund not just our Department of Education, but our P20 system. So funding for our pre-K through support for our university undergraduates. And I also want to speak to a couple of assertions that were made. The first is that there's a clear distinction and demarcation between the responsibilities of the cities, well, the counties and the state. We have overlapping areas of responsibilities, and in this particular area, the counties used to carry the responsibilities for facilities and transportation. They no longer contribute in any meaningful way to our public school system. This measure would change that by changing the Constitution. The Constitution is a living document. If it were frozen, we would see, I think, massive unrest. Amending the Constitution gives us a chance to change the structure of government. And I think another important assertion to address is that there is not already shared responsibility. So it's my understanding that the counties enjoy access to GET funds, TAT funds. So we are already sharing in these revenue generating mechanisms, and this provides us another way to actually address this question of speculation in the islands by folks who, for the most part, the data shows, primarily do not live here. So to use those funds to support our public education systems, I think is a valuable proposition. Mahalo.
Thank you. Representative Bellotti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In strong support,
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this measure would look at taxing properties over $3 million. We can go even higher. Let me share with you a property that was sold in October 2023 in Park Lane, Ala Moana, according to the Honolulu Star Advertiser. An unnamed wealthy buyer recently paid $27.5 million for a penthouse condominium in Honolulu, eclipsing the peak pay for that same property of $22 million when it was first sold 6 years ago new. Mr. Speaker, my husband and I scrimped and saved for over 15 years to buy a little piece of air in the sky that is valued under $600,000. You can see that in my financial disclosure. Maybe it's around $700,000 now. This measure would not affect us. This measure is going to affect the wealthy, the uber wealthy that is purchasing for the price of paradise. Properties that are over millions of dollars, not our local family, not our local people. So if this is a measure that can be crafted and properly get at these unnamed wealthy buyers purchasing penthouses for over $27.5 million, yes, let's do that. Let's consider that as an option for our public school students, for our public school teachers, for our public work employees who day in and day out work to make the Alice wages that they are desperately trying to make so they can afford a little piece of pie in the sky that is valued at under $1 million, far under $1 million. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Representative Amato.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In support, and I request that the words from the representative from Makiki as well as the representative from Wahiawa be entered into the journal as if they were my own.
Thank you. So ordered. Representative Kobayashi.
Mr. Speaker, in support, a point of clarification. This bill says that public funds may be appropriated, may not be appropriate for the support or benefit of any sectarian or non-sectarian private educational institution. But then it goes on to say, except that proceeds may be appropriated to finance or assist nonprofit corporations, nonprofit, private, and sectarian and non-sectarian schools, colleges, and universities. I believe that's a contradiction. I am also not sure that the DOE is a non-profit organization. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Nakamura.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind members that this bill is up for second reading, and there are 2 additional committees that will be reviewing this bill. Just want to remind members that there will be further discussion on this measure.
Thank you.
Speaker?
Representative Ward. Actually, the second time. Hold on.
Second time, exactly.
Hold on, Representative Ward.
Okay.
Let's get everybody. Representative Souza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, in strong support, and I would request that the words from the representative from Makiki be inserted into the journal as my own. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Matsumoto.
Reservations and permission to insert written comments into the journal.
So ordered. All right, members. Representative Kong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No vote.
So ordered. All right, Representative Ward, second time.
Speaker, it was more of a point of order. Basically, it was in response in a reciprocal relationship to the majority leader who said, hey, this is only second reading. In my speech the other day, I said, remember, hey, minority, you guys are speaking on second reading. Well, the point is, majority, to remember that second reading is a way to flag what is the good, bad, and the ugly, and this is not one of the better looking bills. The point is to catch these things early rather than say at third reading. You know, third reading is like, boom, it's over with. The point is we are a deliberative body. First reading is a giveaway. When people say, oh, God, the
I
bill
represent
passed
Ward.
first reading.
I heard your point of order.
You heard the point of order.
Yes, sir.
The point is, to speak pejoratively against second reading, I take personally, and I think in the democratic process, it's out of order. Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue. Representative Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Still in opposition. It was mentioned that, this is just for the rich and for those who don't live here. I hear lots, tax the rich, tax the rich. Well, that's not going to solve Hawaii's problems either. They say it's only for properties valued over $3 million. Well, if you just look back 20 years ago, lots of properties which are currently valued close to $2 million was below $1 million. So in 10, 15, 20 years, a property value right now, if we continue in this direction of taxing the rich, in 20 years, these $1 million houses will end up being $3 million, and everyone's being taxed. No vote.
Thank you. All right, members, with no further comments, let's move on to the next page. SCR 42-24, SCR 43-24, SCR 44-24. Representative Poi Poi.
Reservations, please.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Moving on to SCR 45-24. Representative Peruso.
I'm sorry, when we have a chance, can we go back to 44-24?
Yes, let's finish SCR 45-24. Representative Ganadin.
In strong support, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Potholes, broken street signs, consistent flooding. These are the kinds of things that we hear about all the time from our constituents, and that we often have to tell them that it's a responsibility of the county. I really commend the introducer and the previous committee for tackling this. After many years, we have issues regarding private roads all throughout the state. This bill disproportionately affects working class communities and rural communities, where if we essentially force the hand of the county, we can really improve people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Peruso.
On 44-24, I'd like to
Hold
vote-
on. We'll get to it. We're still on SCR 45-24.
My apologies.
No worries. All right, members, with no further comments on 45-24, let's move back to SCR 44-24. Representative Peruso.
With reservations.
So ordered. Next page, SCR 46-24. SCR 47-24. SCR 48-24. Representative Garcia.
Reservations.
So ordered. Representative Kong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, with reservations.
So ordered. Representative Ward.
Same request, please.
So ordered. All right, members, we're moving on to SCR 49-24. Next page, SCR 50-24. SCR 51-24. SCR 52-24. SCR 53-24. Next page, SCR 54-24. SCR 55-24. SCR 56-24. SCR 57-24. Next page, SCR 58-24. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Representative Kong.
Thank you. With reservations.
So ordered. Moving on to SCR 59-24. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving to SCR 60-24. SCR 61-24. Next page.
Speaker.
Oh, Representative Garcia.
61-24, no vote.
So ordered. Moving on to SCR 62-24. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving to SCR 63-24. Representative Garcia.
No vote.
So ordered. Moving to SCR 64-24. Representative Garcia?
Reservations.
So ordered. Next page. SCR 65-24 and SCR 66-24. Actually, SCR 66-24. Representative Poi Poi.
Reservations.
So ordered. Representative Kaloa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Requesting a ruling on a potential conflict.
State your conflict.
My fiance is an employee at the Hawaii Tourism Authority.
No conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. All right, members, Chair will call for a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. Item 6, introductions of resolutions. Mr. Clerk, are there any resolutions for actions?
Mr. Speaker, there are no resolutions for action. May all others be referred to print.
So ordered. Item 7, members, are there any announcements? Representative Ward.
Speaker, I have a brief announcement, a heads up of what we put under everyone's door. It's the Leak Honolulu article about Wake Up Honolulu. It's about the crime that's breaking out. I just hope everybody has a chance to read it. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Ichiyama.
Mr. Speaker, may I please be permitted a late introduction?
So ordered. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members joining us in the gallery today is Kalena Shea. She's an 8th grader at Iolani. She's also a member of the Honolulu City Youth Commission. Kalena, if you can wave, and welcome to your House of Representatives. Thank you.
Representative Nakamura.
Please join me in wishing our Chair of Human Services happy birthday today.
All right, members, with no further announcements, Representative Morikawa for adjourn.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House stand adjourned until 12 o'clock noon tomorrow.
Representative Garcia.
Mr. Speaker, I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. The motion is carried. The House stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.